And just like that, week one of college football is here. Welcome, everybody, to another episode of the Don't Argue with the Facts podcast. I am your host, Noah Love, and today we will be previewing week one Thursday, Saturday, Sunday games. Hopefully, I'll be up with a week one recap on uh, Saturday Saturday night, and then I'll have a week one. I'll have another week one instant reaction up on a Sunday night for Notre Dame, Miami, South Carolina, Virginia Tech, because I'll be at home. But yeah, we are gonna preview basically this whole weekend. I will give you my thoughts, my opinions, and I will also give you who is winning. I will give you all the big my predictions for all the big games, and then I'll give you some games that I am excited to watch for certain reasons. It will be all college football. By the way, the NFL kicks off in a week, so we will also be getting into that, not in this episode, but next week I will drop my week one predictions as well. Okay, let's get into it. Today, college football is back. We started off with Boise State in South Florida. Boise State is a 5.5 point favorite. The over under 61.5. Number 25th ranked Boise on the road at South Florida, Raymond James Stadium. Boise State losing Ashton Genty, but still keeping their quarterback. I'm going to go Boise State here. I'm going to go Boise to win on the road. South Florida, look, they're very competitive in these games. I actually think they can win this game, but there's a good chance they start 0-3. I mean, this schedule at home against Boise, on the road against Florida, on the road against Miami. Lord. Um, but I just think that Boise, even though they did lose Ashton Genty, which is a Heisman winner, I believe they'll be the best non P4 team again. And I believe Boise State's going to win. I actually do believe they're going to cover the spread of 5.5. I believe Boise wins probably in a 20, I'll say a 28-20-ish game. There'll be some offense, but there will also be some good defense in this game. I think Boise State wins it. The one key I'm looking at for Boise State is will they be able to they have to be better at throwing the football this year. I mean, they weren't horrific at it last year. They were okay. Maxon, I'm really looking forward to him. And seeing how he improves, obviously, in this season. So they still have Cam Camper, I believe, in terms of the receiver room. I just like Boise State to win this game. Okay, let the next game tonight, which is tonight, is also Nebraska versus Cincinnati. Nebraska is going to be Nebraska and Cincinnati. This is an interesting one. Arrow. This is at Arrowhead Stadium here. Cincinnati is a 6.5 point underdog. Not really surprising considering everybody's high on Nebraska this year, including myself. Nebraska. Here's the thing with Nebraska. I don't want to say it's a must win because it's week one, and even if they lose, they can bounce back. But with everything, with the expectations this season, it feels like you just need to come out and win this game big time. It just feels like you need. You need you need this bad, like you need it bad. Um, this is going to be a very close game. There, Nebraska's -6.5. It's. I actually think that I would take Cincinnati plus 6.5. I don't think Nebraska's gonna blow out Cincinnati. Now, do I like Nebraska to have 9-10 wins this season? Yes. I love what they have on the outside with Donnie Key and Ja'Cory Barney. I'm hoping Raiola can take that next step as a sophomore. Also, year three of Matt Rule is inevitable at that point. I really like their defense. I think they're going to be very good as well. I like Emmett Johnson in the backfield. I I like this Nebraska team. I think this is the best Nebraska team to come through here probably in the last 7-8 years. And I think Nebraska's going to get it done tonight in Arrowhead. That a lot of people are saying it's going to be a beatdown. I don't know. I think Cincinnati is a very underrated team. I think Brendan Sorsby is a very good dual threat quarterback that could cause some issues for Nebraska. But I am picking Nebraska to win this game. I'm picking them to win in a 33-27 game. I think that's how Nebraska's going to win. Now, we're really getting to the meat of things. Friday night, ladies and gentlemen. Showtime. Showtime. Let's start it with Georgia Tech at Colorado. Colorado is a 4.5 point underdog. Caden Salter won the quarterback job. That doesn't mean we won't see Juju Lewis, but they're going with the veteran. I've been so high on Georgia Tech this season. This is the game I'm probably the most confident about. I'm going to take Georgia Tech for this reason. Believe Georgia Tech, one, I believe they're the better football team. That's just that. And I know it's on the road, but also Haynes King, senior this year, I think he improves. I think they're just going to be able to run the football. That's their identity. I know what they're going to want to do. They're going to want to run the football, and they're going to have the offensive line to do it. I like what they have in terms of their receivers. I think their defense is going to be pretty decent, mainly up front. Uh, I, j- I like Georgia Tech to win this football game. Also, with Colorado, you have to consider this. You lose Shador Sanders, you lose your Heisman winner, Travis Hunter, and you're going up against a team real that could win the ACC, and in my opinion, will get to the ACC title game. It's very that's a hard one. If Colorado can win it, props to them. But I think Georgia Tech gets them here, and I think this game is probably also. I picked Georgia Tech to cover. I think they win probably I say 28-17, somewhere around there, 28-17. All right, this is the main event of the Friday night slate. These game. Why is Georgia Tech and Colorado on at the same time as Auburn and Baylor? That's the next game. Don't love that, but hey, showtime. Auburn's favored by 1.5 on the road. Um, at Waco, Texas, McLean Stadium. I don't know. This is a toss up game to me. A lot of people are picking Auburn, and you can understand why. Look, Hugh Freeze in year three, Jackson Arnold, uh, the transfer from Oklahoma, did not have a good season at Oklahoma last year. They're trying to rebuild his confidence. They're at receiver. I like what they have at receiver. Cam Coleman. Uh, I like him. Does do Baylor DBs? Here's the key in this game. Does Baylor DBs have the can they contest those jump balls that Auburn is going to want to throw up? Because Auburn, they've got size at the receiver spot. They've got some size, and that's how they're going to want to play. Defensively, what is Auburn going to do? Are they going to stack the box? I think it's a mistake if they stack the box. The reason I think it's a mistake if they stack the box against Baylor is because Baylor's just going to be like, okay, you want to stack the box? We're going to have guys. We have guys that can win one-on-one balls too, and that's what they're going to try to do. But it's also if they play a lighter box, Baylor can run it, and it's going to be up to that front. We're going to find out about Auburn early. We're gonna find out about Jackson Arnold. Let's see. If Auburn loses, everybody's gonna be like, up, season's over before it starts. Before it's even really started or gotten underway. Season's over. Like if they lose this game 30-20, there's so much pressure on Hugh Freeze and Auburn, which the way I'm setting this up is I'm going to pick Auburn. I am not. I'm going Baylor. Look, the Baylor. It's an interesting team. I think the momentum they got at the end of last year for Dave Miranda. I believe Baylor could be a sleeper in the Big 12. I believe they're going to have an ability in this game to run the football. And even if they even if they do struggle with running the football, I trust Sawyer Robertson to really throw the ball around the lot if he has to. I also think Waco is a really tough place to play. And if Jackson Arnold doesn't start off fast, will he be rattled? That's what I'm interested to see. I think he will. I think I'm taking Baylor plus 1.5, and I'm taking them to win outright. I think this game. This is an interesting one. I think Baylor can win. I think Baylor wins this probably a 31-21. I could obviously be wrong about this, but I think Baylor wins it by 10 uh at home. I really do. Now, Saturday, where we're getting into it now. Saturday, let's start low light. Syracuse at Tennessee, Mercedes-Benz Stadium, Atlanta, Georgia, neutral site game. Tennessee's minus 13 and a half. I'm just gonna tell you, I think that's really, really, really too much. I think Syracuse is going to be able to compete in this football game. Now, I don't think they're going to win. Look, they lost Kyle McCord to the NFL and they lost their top three receivers. That Tennessee, they lost Nico, obviously, with that whole drama in the portal. They bring Joey Aguilar in. I think this is more of a slugfest, you can say, defensive game. I think this is like a 23-14 game. Somewhere around there. I don't think Tennessee gets off to a hot start. I don't think Tennessee gets the amount of explosive plays we're used to seeing, but I do think they are able to run the ball. I think they're able to run the football. I think that's been the one constant where Heupel, since he's been here, is even the last year and the year before that and the year before that, they've been able to run the football. I think Star Thomas is going to make a big impact, and I think he's going to be the reason they win the game. So I'm picking Tennessee, but I'm also picking Syracuse to cover that plus 13.5. I think that's a good bet. I think that's a little strong. Now, for what should be the main event of the evening, the big noon kickoff is I I don't know, man. Don't love it. Ohio State, number 3, the reigning defending national champions. Man, these are the games you live for. At home, they are taking on preseason ranked number 1, the Texas Longhorns, on Fox, and it's Arch Manning in his first big game. Gus Johnson, Joe Clap on the call. Man, this is going to be a fantastic game. Ohio State's favored by 1.5. The man, there's I like Texas to win this football game. I like Texas to win this football game and get revenge. With Ohio State, they lost 14 players to the draft. Jim Knowles is now at Penn State. Brian Hartline, the receivers coach, is now the OC coach because offensive coordinator because Chip Kelly went to the NFL to pair with Pete Carroll in Las Vegas. Texas, yes, they did lose some guys. A key guy like Matthew Golden, but I think Ryan Wingo will step into his role. They still have Quantavious Wisner. Obviously, Arch, they're strong. I think their defense could be better than what it was a year ago. The only question I really have about them is the back end. Losing a guy like Jahad Barron to the obviously he's went to the draft into Denver. That's really huge. But I think Texas wins. I think this game, I think it's a feeling out process early. I think Texas is able to win this 20, 27-24. I don't think Arch comes out here. I don't think he's, how can I put this? I don't think he goes out there and lights it all the way up. I don't think he goes out there, throws for 320, 3 touchdowns, runs for 1, no interceptions. I don't think that happens. I think a great start for him is probably 250, 2 touchdowns, completion percentage around 70. And I think if no turnovers, obviously, I think if he does that, that's a good day for him. And I think that's a reasonable debut. What can't, and look, I'm not saying that Ohio State can't win this game. I just don't think they're going to because of the reasons I gave. But if Ohio State wins this game and Arch does not play well, there are going to be questions about Sark and Arch. And look, I don't think, I don't think, with Arch, that it would be so stupid because, oh, he's not as good as we thought. A, it's his first big game, calm down. And B, you guys put him in the Heisman conversation when Arch has literally been telling you to stop it for this whole off season. Paul Feinbaum. So that's kind of my thoughts on that. If Arch has a bad game, they'll be on him. If Sark loses, it's gonna be, well, I mean, we lost in the semifinal to the Boar. We lost in the SEC title game. You got swept by Georgia twice. You lost in the semifinal game to Ohio State. Can Sark get it done? That's going to be the questions. But also for the SEC, after what happened last year, I really just think they need, as a conference, Texas kind of has it on its back because the Big Ten, they're kind of known as the kings of college football right now. So Texas, they obviously need this one. I'm going Texas. Another big one. Alabama, number 8 ranked Alabama on the road at Florida State. Florida State, last year went 2-10. Alabama went 9-3, missed the playoffs, lost the bowl game, so 9-4. I think Alabama's going to be sneaky good this year. I think I've seen the Texas hype. I've seen the Florida hype. I obviously Georgia, not dismissing them. Think Alabama's got a really good shot to go to the SEC and win the SEC. Ty Simpson. I I think Alabama wins this game, obviously, but I do think it's closer than expected. I think Florida State. The one thing they're gonna have to do is can they keep Alabama off the field? They're gonna have to be able to run the football. Whether it's Castellanos on a read option or whatever. There's 20 plus transfers here for Florida State. My main question this year will be when they get down in this game, because it's going to be inevitable that they get down. When they get down in this game, will they fight or will they just lie down? Last year they lied down a lot. This year, are they going to fight? That's gonna be something interesting. Look, I think that O line, Thomas Castellanos, they're gonna ask him to do some things in this game that you wouldn't normally ask him to do. I think he's gonna get. I think he's gonna get hit a lot by this Alabama front. He's gonna get hit a lot. I trust Gus Malzahn to call a good game. Again, he's now the offensive coordinator at Florida State. I trust him to call a good game because he has a real extensive history against Alabama. I get it. It's not Saban over there on the sideline anymore, but he did beat Saban a couple times, and he knows how to beat Alabama and keep a good, very good offense off the field. But I do think Alabama wins because I just think Alabama has more talent, and I think Alabama's just better. That's just kind of what this comes down to. I think it's close in the first half. I think Alabama pulls away in the second half. I think Alabama wins. I'll take I think Alabama wins this game. I'll say they win probably. I'll go 31-22. I'll go 31-22. I don't think Florida State gets the doors blown off them, and I do pick Florida State plus 13 and a half. Also, also, Thomas Castellanos has been talking a lot of noise. I don't know if he's gonna regret it totally. Look, we'll see. If they pull off that upset, they're gonna. Wow, could you see the DeBoer? Can't it just can't happen? The main event of Saturday, though, LSU at Clemson, Saturday night, ABC. Kirk Herbstreit, Chris Fowler on the call. Who's the real Death Valley? Clemson favored by 4.5. We're gonna find out about LSU's O line real early. To me, this game is determined. Is LSU going to be in third and like fours, third and threes, or in third and sevens? Because if they are in third and seven all night, then Clemson's going to win the football game. I think their pass rush is too good, and I think they will force Nussmeier to make mistakes. If LSU cannot run the ball against Clemson, they're not going to win. If they just can't run the ball, it's not going to happen. Plain and simple. Last year they couldn't run the ball, and you saw what happened. Also, Clemson may have one of the best front fours in America. They may have one of the best front fours in America, if not the best front four in America. But also was LSU with Nuss. They can't. You can't have Nuss be Superman. That's just not what he's best at. Because if Nuss is Superman, tries to be Superman, that's going to get him in trouble. That's what forced him to be to have the 12 interceptions. Garrett Nussmeyer is gonna. He's. I need to see improvement for him on the decision front. I need to see some improvement for him on the decision front. Also, there's big pressure on both coaches. More pressure on Kelly because at least with Dabo, even though it would be another loss, a fourth consecutive loss against the SEC, everybody would say, "Well, Dabo's won two national titles. Clemson, look, they're going to steamroll through the ACC. They'll be fine." But with LSU, if you lose here, it's like, here we go again. Kelly can't win an opener. Their team's unprepared. They got a tough schedule, no playoffs. They're going to kill him. So Kelly needs it more than Dabo. I just don't think. I think in this game, LSU's going to cover, but I think Clemson's going to win the football game outright. I got Clemson in this football game. I think the reason they're going to win is because on big time third downs, I think Cade's going to be money, and he's going to be money because of Antonio Williams, Bryant Wesco. I think those two guys in particular. I think those two guys in particular are going to be big time in this football game, and I think that's what's really gonna be big. I think that's what's really gonna win. Also, they got to be able to run the football. I think they're going to be able to run the football as well. Also, TJ Moore in this game as well is going to be huge. Obviously, I think money on third down. To me, third down is just obviously it's the down that's going to decide this football game. But I think Clemson gets it done at home in Death Valley. In terms of the game, I say it's probably I go probably 31-28. I think it's a back and forth game between two really good quarterbacks and draft prospects, and I think Clemson gets it done. I think Clemson gets it done. Now, moving on to Sunday. Yes, we have football on Sunday, and it's not the NFL. That's next week. It is college. It is college. Atlanta's having a lot of games, man. Mercedes-Benz Stadium, Atlanta, Georgia is the number 13th ranked South Carolina Gamecocks against the Virginia Tech Hokies. South Carolina's favored by 7.5. I think that's fair. Uh, I'm picking South Carolina to win this game. Now, I'm a little on edge because Shane Beamer's teams in week ones have not been the greatest. They struggled last year in week one. Remember the year when Rattler, they got absolutely mauled by North Carolina in that first game. So Shane Beamer's teams in week one have not been the greatest. But I do think South Carolina's going to pull it out in this game. I think Lenore Sellers, they're obviously going to ask him. Last year, they asked him not entirely to be Superman, not all the way. I think they're going to ask him to do that this year. I think he actually can put the game on his back, and he can do that. But I think they're going to win this game. And I think they're probably going to cover. Virginia Tech, look, Kyron Drones, are they going to be able to run the football against a new South Carolina front? That's going to be the question for me. Are they going to be able to run the football against South Carolina's front? Because South Carolina's defense, it's a little bit of an unknown. South Carolina's offense, the receivers, it's an unknown. We don't know. Virginia Tech, also unknown. I like South Carolina to win it, though. I think Kyron Drones keeps Virginia Tech more of in the game. I think this is probably a Man, South Carolina. I think this is probably a 33. Hmm. I won't say 33. I'll go 35-24. I think South Carolina does cover. I think they do cover. And then the main event, Sunday night. Number 6 Notre Dame at number 10 Miami. I've been racking my brain with this one. I've been back and forth. This one's going to be called by Sean McDonough and Greg at McElroy. Notre Dame favored by 2.5 points. Ah man, I've been racking my brain with it, and I think I was able to last night to convince myself on Notre Dame to win this game. Part of me I was swinging Miami, but I think Notre Dame's going to win. I think the game's that close. I'm interested to see what Carson Beck looks like for Miami. I'm interested to see what because the defense has got to be better. They can't be any worse than what they were last year. They have to be better. They can't be any worse than what they were last year. They were atrocious last year. They've been developing beast on the O line for the past 3 years. Will that pay off this year? We'll see. I also think Notre Dame was still one of the best secondaries in football in the country. The thing I worry about with Notre Dame is the quarterback. I do think CJ Carr, in terms of his arm, he gives him more upside. I think the RPO system, the way they want to run it. I think Riley Leonard could not run that last season because he did not have the arm. I think CJ Carr is gonna be. I think CJ Carr is gonna be able to run it like Marcus Freeman and company wants to. I also think Notre Dame has a closer. I think they win this 23-20 on the road. They have a closer, and that's Jeremiah Love. I think Jeremiah Love, they may save him to the fourth quarter. I think by the fourth, he may have 12, 13 carries in the game. And I think in the fourth, he probably gets like 10. I I think Notre Dame, they're going to try to wear you down. And then in the fourth quarter, it's going to be, okay, number 4, we going to you each time. Whether it's a body blows or a big run, let's get this done. So I like Notre Dame to win. I like them to cover barely. 23-20 is the score there. I like Notre Dame to win on the road. Also, some games I'm interested to watch. That Monday night, TCU at North Carolina, Belichick first game. We'll see what happens with that. Michigan, I'm interested to see them play against New Mexico. Bryce Underwood debut. I'm interested to see Oklahoma play at home against Illinois State. Interested to see Georgia play at home against Marshall. I'm interested to see Penn State play against Nevada, see how they look on both sides of the ball. Interested to see how Indiana looks against Old Dominion. They've had a lot of transfers this season. I'm also interested to see a little Pac 12 after dark. Utah at UCLA. I have Utah obviously at least going to the Big 12 title game. I want to see how they look. That should be an interesting game as well. College football is back, ladies and gentlemen, and week 1 it starts tonight with Boise and USF at 1:30. 1:30, 5:30, 5:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. It's gonna be a fun weekend. All right, until the Saturday recap. Please like, comment, share, and subscribe. And until next time, see ya.